Hello everyone and welcome. So in this video we'll be creating this material you can see here from scratch. It will be a good opportunity to learn the new workflows in COPS. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, let's start by dropping a geometry container and a COP network, and we will create a tile pattern. We'll change the divisions to 7, and I want to keep a rectangle, and as I don't want it filled, I want a gradient, and the gradient will be a concentric ramp. So let's go with concentric, and I want to invert it something like this. And I believe that's all for now. So let's just create a preview material for now and connect this to the height, and we get something like this, which is not ideal. So let's go to this place and change this 0.05, and we will also change the divisions to 200. So we need to do some blurring and adjustments. So for that I'm gonna create, let me resize this and create a null, and I'm going to blur, and I'm going to blur just a little bit, 0095. In this case we'll blur quite a bit, and then in the second one we'll just blur 0.5, and we will blend both. So this one goes to the background, this to the foreground, and we will connect this one to the mask. And let me check something. So 0.0095. This one is incorrect, so 0.0095 and 0.05. So we get something like this. Now this is better, looking more like inflated look. And let's continue with our pattern. So now we will create the folds in between these corners. So for that I'm going to create I'm gonna use this ID in here, and also the UVs. So let's create a UV transform and connect the UV and the seed and the ID to the seeds, and I'm gonna change these. I'm gonna change to randomize the rotation, so 180. Maybe change the seed, and let's do transform. Since we want them in the corners, we will just move them by 1 and 1, so they sit right on the corner, and create a ramp. can be a ramp mono. And we will change these to radial and just create a pattern in here. I'm gonna try to mimic what I've done. So just going up and down. And maybe reduce these. So something like this can work. And from here, let me see. And as you can see, this is fully randomized. Otherwise I would get always the same pattern. So that's alright. Now I'm gonna blur this. And I'm gonna blur by a value of 0.04. Quite a bit, and create another blur and go for a value 0.007, just slightly. And I'm gonna blend both, so this one to the foreground and this one to the background, and I will need a mask. So for that, from this pattern in here, let's create a ID to SDF, and create an SDF from mono, SDF to mono. And let's change this to outline and center and align width of 0.08. And I'm gonna also blur it quite a bit. And maybe 0.03. And now I can use this as a mask. And this won't align because we have this transform in here, so Control Alt Shift drag to create a reference copy and paste it in here. And now we have that pattern. So after these blends, we'll just create a slight distortion on it. So let's create a distort. Connect this as source and create a fractal noise. And I'm gonna change it to UV, amplitude of 0.02, element size of 0.03, and I want the center to be at 0. So, and the roughness to be 0 also. And change and connect this to the direction, and now change the scale. So just a slight distortion, nothing much. And from here we will blend it with our main height. So blend, background, foreground, and I'm gonna change it to soft lights and maybe reduce the opacity to 0.4. So something like this. And if we save it and check out the material, so we don't have much resolution right now. Maybe let's increase this to 400 and we start to see our folds forming. And they look always slightly different. Let's see. Maybe we can change a bit the seed in here. And play with the ramp. Maybe we can change a bit the pattern to give it more random directions. So something like this. Now we will create the buttons at the corners. So for that, let's create a tile pattern, and we will connect the divisions in here and change this to a circle, a size of 0.18 and a value, I'm gonna say 0.4, and change it to distance and a fade distance of 0.04. So, and also a row and column offset to be at the corners. That's about it. Now I can blend it. I'm gonna blend it as maximum. And let's check our result. And this is how it's looking, and this is pretty much the height map created, and we will work on the other parts next. So we will actually create our own geometry. So let's create a sub import with 2, and let's change the divisions to 12 by 32 to have them squared somehow. And let's create a cylinder mapping. So left UV unwrap cylinder, and there we go, and create a subdivide. And it's always a good idea to create an output node. And I'm gonna subdivide it by 5 for now, and maybe in the end we can increase it to 6. And let's connect it in here, and this is looking better. And we will also have a main transform. So we'll create a transform in 2D and scale it, rotate it 45 degrees, and uniform scale of 0.4. So something like this. Maybe we have too much displacement. Let's check. 124. Yeah, let's leave it like that for now, and we can adjust it later. Or maybe 0.035. This feels better. Alright, so let's create a null and say this is our height, and maybe change it to light blue. So what we'll create next? So let's create some color. So for that I'm gonna start in here and create a mono to RGB, and I'm gonna copy some values. So I'm gonna use a red color and a darker red for the blacks. You can copy if you want, but just enter some random ones, it will be fine. And next we will create some patterns. So for that let's create a whirly noise, and we will change the element size to 0.006. This will be quite small, and let's change it to hexagonal. And from the border let's create SDF to mono, and the ISO offset of 0.0005, and the background will be 1 and the shape 0. So we can't see much because of the resolution, but we will increase it in a bit. And let's also duplicate this setup in here, and we will distort the shapes and an amplitude of 0.0004. Now a smaller element size too, and the rest will be fine. Let's change it to 2K. We start to see something. Alright, now we have this in here. Let's save it and create a multiply. Which is just a blend set to multiply, and maybe you can change a bit the blend amount. This will be too much, 0.2, or is it 0.2? Yes. And now we will create, let's just get some space in here, and let's create a fractal, and this will be just some overall dirt, and we will change the amplitude to 0.7, change this to purling, an element size of 1, some offset, and quite a bit roughness. And let's multiply these. And we will change it to 0.35. Oops, 0.35. Something like this. And now we will create the dots, the buttons, colorize the buttons. So what we can do, from the tile pattern we are blending these, so from here we can create an equalize. This is just similar to auto levels, and we can dilate it a bit and just about 5, and create a mono to RGB. And I'm gonna change this to a specific color I have in here, which is like a goldish yellow. And I'm gonna blend it. I'm gonna blend it over this color. So let's see how it looks. Let's change it to iPod. I have no idea what is this blending mode. If you guys know, let me know. But was the one that I tried and it worked great. So we will also create some damage on the fabric, on the material. So before we even blend the buttons, we will create a tile pattern. So let's say, let's do this and create a tile pattern, and we will change it to 3. Circle, radius of 0.65. It will be filled, and uniform jitter, and let's increase this 0.1 and 0.196, and some seed value. And let's also change the uniform scale, 0.55, oops, 0.55, and set this to varying, and variation of 0.5, and seed value, something like this. And now we will create another distort, so we can copy from here. But in this case we will change the roughness to 0.9, element size of 1, and an amplitude of 0.133. So this is okay. me see. So that is fine. It's a bit different from what I have. I'm not sure why. Does it distort have same scale? Yes. The fractal. Let's change the offset to 0.7. And this is looking correct. And let's change it to purline. That's why it was different. So now we will create some feather. And a distance of 0.03 and create a blend. This will be the background and this the foreground. And let's change it to overlay. Now we'll blend this with the color, and the way we're gonna do this is by creating a constant, and I'm gonna pick a color in here. Let's change it to RGB. And this is fine. And I'm going to create a fractal noise. And this fractal noise will have a contrast of 0.43, an element size of 0.03, and it will be in mono. And I'm going to multiply it over this color. So something like this. This is for the inner padding, and I'm gonna blend before this one, and I'm gonna use this as a mask. So something like this, and if we change to this and connect this to the color, and of course we need to transform it too, so let's Control Alt Shift drag and connect these at the end. And we will have something like this. So while we're already here, let's create, let's see, we have to equalize from here. Let's create a transform. And null, and create all these metals, and change this to green or blue, and connect this to the material. So metalness. This way we start to see our metal in the buttons. Alright, there's one thing more I want to do to the color, which is to create some shadowing, so it looks like it has some indentation. So I'm going to organize this a bit first. So let's change this, something like this. And from here I'm going to create mono to STF, just to get the outline, and STF to mono, and I'm going to change it to outline and just increase a little bit, and this will be fine. Then blur it, and in this case I want to invert this. And I'm gonna blur it by this is fine, and multiply it before this one. So blend set to multiply. Let's see how this looks. Something like this. Maybe it is a bit too much, so we can change the blending to 0.8. Let's save and see how it looks. So now we will create some normal mapping, and we can see the folds are working pretty well in here. It's a very convincing effect. Alright, let's create the... what else do we need to do? We can create the roughness and the normal. So for the normal, I'm gonna first come in here. This will be our main normal map. Create them all. And we can create it in here. And I to normal. And we'll have enough a scale of 0.0005, so quite small, as you can see. And let's create a null. Change this to normal and a blue color. And let's connect this to the normal. And we start to see something. Maybe we can change the intensity of 2.3. So I just want to see a little bit. In the end we will probably increase the resolution. It will be better. So this is our main normal, but we will need a little bit more detail. So the first thing we're going to do is grab this fractal noise from here and create another eye to normal. And in this case we will have it as 0.01. And I'm gonna also create an eye to normal from here, and in this case I wanna invert it, so minus 0.08, so it goes like that. And so we have this one, let's blend. And we will change this. This is probably not the right way to blend normal maps, but I'm gonna just change it to overlay. And use as a mask this in here. Oops. Not really. So we have this one and this one. This should be working. So as a mask I'm using this one. Oh, maybe I need to use... No, this is correct. Okay, I need this as a foreground and this is background. That's how it wasn't working. And we can finally blend it in here. Change this to overlay. Or in this case, just set it to blend and use this as a mask, or this one. So something like this. Now we will also have the buttons, so let's create a constant and eye to normal. Let's change this to just one, and let's blend. And we will use as a mask probably the metalness. Where is that? So this. This is looking like spaghetti now, but basically in the buttons we have no normal maps. That's what I want. Let's save and check the final result. Maybe I'm recording, that's why it's a bit slow. Well, now it's better. So wait a minute, this is not loading the funnel. Sometimes you have to connect and disconnect, at least that's my experience. Or maybe just let's just increase the resolution. Okay, now that I see the problem is in here on the transform, so let's decrease again to 2K. So on the normal we need to apply the same transform. I believe that's it. Let's check. Yeah, that was it. So unfortunately we are not able to see the details on the fabric on this part in here, and we're getting normals in the buttons, which is not okay. Let's check the result. Oh, I see why. So where is that coming from? Let's connect it to here. Oops. Let's connect this to here. It's not that. So, oh, it's not this one. Is it this one? Yeah. So let's go follow that line and connect it in here. Now it should be working. Yeah. No normal mapping in the buttons. So now the only thing left to do is to create a roughness map and increase the final resolution. So to create the roughness map, let's start maybe after this one. So we can create them all. This is absolute spaghetti, but let's go to RGB to mono, RGB to mono. Something like this will be fine. And we will from this one in here, from the buttons, let's create RGB to mono, RGB to mono. And actually invert this since we want it pretty. We want this to be pretty shiny. And let's blend this. And we will blend it as multiply. Make sure I'm using 2K. And we will also need the same transform. Maybe there's a better way to do this instead of having these multiple transforms. And we will also remap it. And this is getting pretty slow because I'm recording and I have 2 instances of Houdini running. So let's say this is our roughness map and we connect it to the roughness and we have something like this. Now let's change this to 4K and we will be done. Okay guys, I increased the resolution. Now we can start to see some more details on our mesh and on our material. So I'm gonna just, as you can see, and sorry for the roaster and the dog, I have a lot of animals and they make some noise in the morning. So let's just, since I have some resolution issues on the buttons, we can increase the depth to 6 and let's save and look at our material and hopefully it will not crash, and it didn't. So I guess that's it guys. I hope you have learned something new in this one. Again, nothing groundbreaking. This is a pretty common workflow for Substance Designer and whatnot. Although I'm not experienced at all in Substance Designer, I played with the software for about 10 times, I don't know. It was just really because I needed something specific, I used Substance Designer. But I guess from now on I will keep working on my skills on procedural texturing and take you along with me. So if you enjoyed this one, let me know in the comments, and as always you can grab the file from my Patreon and check out also my courses in there, which are always nice. And thank you for watching. See you next time.